me Terry SkyWalker, but I'm better known as Terry Walker.
And where you from?
From Brooklyn, New York. Bed-Stuy to be exact.
No doubt. How'd you wind up in Atlanta?
Man, that's a long ass story, man. I was 19. I had just got kicked out of the dorm of Long Island University for just being unruly, regular hood nigga. And I went back home. I wound up getting into it with some guys. I got robbed, actually, to be honest with you. But I wasn't no sucker, so, see you again is going down. My partner that was living down here at the time, he was in college. He came back up top, and I saw him again, and it went down. And 15 minutes later, I was in a car on the way to Atlanta. Straight up. That's how I ended up in Atlanta. I left with him, came back.
How long you been in Atlanta?
Man, I've been in Atlanta. I came here when I was 19 years old, so 24 years.
What year did you come?
I came in 98.
No doubt.
I came at the end of 98.
What's the craziest thing you've seen in Atlanta since you've been here?
Shit's a crazy. Atlanta is a crazy thing. That's a crazy question to ask. Oh, I could give you different angles. I can't give you one thing. I'll give you different angles of shit. So on the street tip, the craziest shit I ever seen, I was sitting on a stoop smoking with Akon little brother Omar, my boy Black O, and we was burning it down, and a car crashed into one of the light poles, and then another car pulled up behind it, got out, and dumped on that car. Like, let that car have it, and then pulled off, and then the car exploded. And we looked at each other and went in the house. Like, I wasn't out here. Was you out here? Nah, I ain't see none of that shit. Like, straight up. That was the craziest thing I seen on that tip. I guess the craziest thing I seen on the entertainment tip ever, I remember being in a club standing next to Michael Jordan. That shit was crazy. Like on some random hood club though. It was like that shit that's on across the street from the Sheridan. It had been mad different clubs. It was Uptown Club, then it was Life, then it was, I seen Jordan in there, yo. Dead ass. I was in there chilling. And a nigga said, first thing they said, Charles Oakley in the house. And I was like, oh, that's dope. They said, Michael Jordan in the house. Nigga said, what? And I dead ass turned around and that nigga was standing right next to me, like, Jordan. Like, only in Atlanta. Like, niggas ain't stars in Atlanta, yo. Everybody in Atlanta think they a fucking star. That's just straight up. So, niggas will be hyped to see a nigga, but, like, be fronting. Like, nigga, who that? Nigga, what? I'm in here. Like, yeah, so I just stood next to Jordan, Janet Jackson. You know what I mean? Like, people that's like icons. Like, I remember my boy called me the other day out the blue. We was having the after hours and it was like 3 a.m. This nigga called me and I'm more like, nigga, why you calling me at 3 a.m? You don't know I got an after hours. What make you want to call me at 3 o'clock in the morning? Like, he like, oh, I'm calling you from Vegas. My bad, son. You know what I mean? I didn't realize what time it was over there. He said, but I've been talking to my uncle and shit. And my uncle wanted to, like, speak to you because I told him good things. And I got on the phone, this nigga, Teddy Riley. Was that nigga uncle calling me from Vegas at 3 a.m. on some but the most random shit before that, the night before that, I'm in the club with my homegirl. So, some young chicks is standing there and this old nigga trying to holler. So they like, yo, could you act like you our big brother so he'd leave us alone type shit? And I'm like, look, I ain't getting involved in y'all shit, but I'll nod my head. But if that nigga asks me something, I'm gonna act like I don't know what the fuck. I ain't in y'all shit. So they went over there. He tried to holler. He's like, that's our brother right there. And he looked. So another old nigga just happened to be sitting next to me. I guess they was together. Nigga tapped me on my leg. I turned around, looked down. That nigga said, yo, I'm Aaron Hall. I swear to God on my daughter, bro. This the night before Teddy Riley called my phone.
Wow.
So I'm talking to this nigga for a minute, like, oh shit, Aaron, I'm an old nigga, so I know these niggas know. I'm like, oh, that's what's up. And dead ass, like, the first thing Teddy said on the phone, that nigga said, yo, I'm getting back in the group with Aaron, and we gonna go on tour with Usher. And I don't know if they on tour with Usher, but I heard they back together and they performing and shit. But yeah, Atlanta's some other shit.
Fact.
And like straight up.
I seen some footage, man. How long you been with Bonfire ATL?
7 years. No, I'm lying. Cause they closed for 8 years.
No doubt.
I've been Bonfire for 8 years. It's been open for 10.
And what's your favorite thing about Bonfire ATL?
My favorite thing about Bonfire ATL is the inclusion. You know, everybody's welcome. You might walk past a 21-year-old that just turned 21 today that been waiting to come to Bonfire and sit down next to a 60-year-old. Everybody having a good time. Every single one of them is having a good time.
No doubt. No doubt. So what is your role with Bonfire ATL?
I am part owner. I have two partners, Michi Bertrand and Brian Winder, better known as Flex and Michi. And yeah, we control what happens at Bonfire. Bonfire ATL LLC is the name of the company. And it's more than just that event. We are event curators. We are event producers for outside entities. We are property managers. We are property owners. We basically dwell in the entertainment space. We create content, you know, record label, a bunch of different stuff under the Bonfire ATL LLC brand.
So how did you get involved? How did you get involved in promoting events?
I was 17 years old, and I was really popular in New York in high school because I played basketball and I smoked weed straight up in high school. So that's a big thing in high school. Like I always had weed with me everywhere I went, just like now. And I play a lot of basketball, so I could go to anybody's hood and blend in. I'm rolling up and shooting jump shots. And plus I used to sneak into my guidance counselor's office or go in there acting like I had a problem. When she turned around, I was still a night school card. Because in New York, you know, you're only supposed to go to night school if you're a junior or a senior and you're behind on credits. That's to help you graduate on time. But night school was fun as shit. You know what I mean? This is where all the older kids was. Dominican niggas with the big Cuban links and BMWs. You got badass chicks, bodies crazy, the door knocker earrings. Them all the badass kids, like, but they the fly niggas. So I was still a night school card, and I'm in night school when I'm a sophomore. So I was really popular. I was in there for the whole time. I was graduating early because of that shit and everything. And graduation time came, and I knew everybody. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna throw this graduation party with my homegirl. That shit gonna be crazy, son. And we threw it at the community center at the corner of my block. And at 12 o'clock, that shit was empty. Empty, my nigga. It was a shit in the, and my homeboys, you know, niggas in New York ain't shit. So niggas was laughing at me and shit. They like, oh, I thought you was popping, son. Damn, what happened, son? Yo, you ain't got no bitches, no nothing. Niggas just violating. By 12:30, it was so many people outside that party and inside that party that niggas ripped the door off their hinges, literally. Like, cause niggas told them they couldn't get in type shit. And I looked, and I was standing out there, all my niggas was with me, and I was looking at the crowd go crazy, and I said, son, I'm gonna do this shit for the rest of my life, watch. Straight up. And I just kept trying. No matter what city I was in, no matter what, I was handing out other niggas flyers, getting into their mixes. You know, one of them young niggas that wasn't scared to be like, yeah, I'm a young nigga, put me to work. I wasn't one of them young stubborn, I don't gotta listen to nah, nigga. I was 10 toes down until somebody put me on, yo.